Something monumental has just happened to me by accident. I am standing here just on the border of Yellowstone National Park this morning. A place I have never been to in my entire life before, which is why I didn't know that to get to Yellowstone National Park from where I woke up this morning in Idaho, you actually have to cross through a little sliver of the state of Montana, which means I have just crossed over into my 48th state. One step closer to hitting all 50. Now, I'm on a road trip from my home in Southern California to parts unknown. So I didn't plan on coming this way. I didn't plan anything at all. When I decided to come towards Yellowstone, I thought I'd surprise you by starting off in the park somewhere. But once I noticed I had crossed into the state of Montana, I couldn't help but pull over and celebrate the occasion and take in the scenery. Now, we're here in the town of West Yellowstone, Montana, right on the border of the national park. And it's just the kind of place I love. It's touristy, it's kitschy, it's historic. It's just a great combination of all of the things that I love to see while traveling. And if it didn't cost a whole arm and a leg to stay here, especially during the summer months like now, I might be tempted to stay in this town for days looking at all the sick merch and weird stuff. Like, look at this overly surprised Bigfoot here. I knew Bigfoot was popular, but I always think of him as a West Coast thing. But from the look of it, he's just as surprised to be in Montana as I am. Hey, that's good advice. Well, look at this. I guess Bigfoot lives in Montana. This is Bigfoot Cabin. Guess he took all that money from those History Channel shows and invested here in real estate. I don't know why I wasn't expecting Bigfoot. I guess just thinking of Yellowstone, I mostly think of like carved wooden bears or especially Yogi Bear. And just when I thought I was going to be disappointed by not seeing any Yogi Bear stuff, I came upon this. Hey, random lad. Welcome to Yellowstone.
I don't think the ranger's gonna like this, Yogi.
Hey, be quiet, boo-boo. Nobody cares what you think.
Look at this. They're sitting out in front of Yogi's Waffles and Grill, which is a real shame. I mean, it's cool that Yogi has his own waffle shop. I just always figured he'd open a place called Yogi's Hoagies. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's stupid.
No.
I don't know. I kinda liked it, Yogi.
Man, I really want to hang around here the rest of the day. There's giant ice cream cones and tourist shops. There are historic trading posts. Unfortunately, I can't hang around West Yellowstone too long because I've got to be heading into Yellowstone proper. Because although these blue skies can be deceptive, there's supposed to be bad weather later on today. Which is why I woke up at 5 in the morning before sunrise to leave Idaho Falls and get here. Time to enter the park before it was too heimbucked by the weather. I know very little about Yellowstone because I never thought I would end up here. Don't ask me why, I just never thought it would happen. So I'm far from an expert on this area, but you know what? Just dipping the toe in a little bit has made me pretty stoked on coming back. Ooh, no chance of getting a picture of that iconic sign. We gotta wait in line to get in here at the gate. I got up early, but I guess I didn't get up early enough. Look at the size of that crowd. All right, it took a few minutes, but we are in Yellowstone. I knew it was big, but apparently it's even bigger than I thought because it's an hour just from the entrance gate there to my first destination, or the first place I'm really trying to get to. So I'm gonna settle in for the ride. So it's definitely beautiful, but for the most part, what I've seen so far is lots of traffic. It's funny though, because it just occurred to me, I could just stop right now here in this traffic jam. I could just turn around, go back and say, yep, I've been to Yellowstone all right, and I wouldn't be lying. What the heck, we'll stick it through. All right, well, in addition to regular summer traffic, apparently there's one lane closed up here, and there's construction traffic as well. So I've literally been sitting here in Yellowstone on the road for quite a long time now, but at least it's nice and peaceful. Nature outside, cars, plenty of trees to look at. Somebody quit. They're quitting. I didn't know you could just quit. I've lost all track of time of how long I've been sitting here, but I guarantee this road is backed up for miles and miles now. All right, amazing. We've started moving again, at least a little bit. Look at this. This was all the trouble right here. I was hoping I might see some wildlife today. I wasn't expecting it to be steamrollers. Okay, finally, we're out of the car. Now, you people aren't dummies. By now, you've probably figured out where I'm headed. When I went to Paris, the first thing I went to see was the Eiffel Tower and then the Mona Lisa. So you know, if it's my first time in Yellowstone National Park, that I'm heading straight for Old Faithful. And it looks like we're here just in time for the eruption. Dude, this is exciting. Crowd or no crowd. Waiting in that traffic for like 2 hours really heightened the anticipation. Look at the geyser, this massive crowd here waiting around the old geyser itself. That's because any second now it's about to pop off. Oh wait, here it goes. Here it goes. Wow. We're doing it. We're seeing one of the most famous, craziest geological wonders in the United States. This geyser erupts roughly every hour to hour and a half or so. That's how it got the name Old Faithful. This thing erupts about 17 times a day, and that water out there, that boiling water, can reach heights of 184 feet. Although it's hard to tell from this distance, they gotta keep us safe from that boiling water. Each one of these eruptions can last from 1 to 5 minutes. This one's been going for a while, and it's the size of each one that determines how long it's gonna be till the next one, so they can only predict it eruption by eruption. Dude, this is wild. Uh-oh, looks like it's fizzling out a little bit. Oh my gosh, that was insane. I can't believe I am now among the thousands and thousands of people who have seen Old Faithful erupt. And speaking of insane and thousands of people, look how fast this all emptied out. It wasn't even done fizzling before people started taking off. Maybe it has something to do with these clouds over here. I think we might have caught the last, at least somewhat sunny eruption of Old Faithful for the day. I'm just looking back now at the time lapse, and look at this. It comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it's just bubbling up, spurting up crazy high streams of water and steam. You could smell a little bit of sulfur action, but not too much. It was crazy the way the crowd would get loud and excited and clap and then quiet, and just as quickly as it began, it was over. Wild. I can't believe how long this took. Not the eruption, that was quick, but the whole journey to see the eruption we just looked at. From the time I woke up, it took 7 hours for me to see that. Because I left so early, it should have only taken 2.5 hours, but all that traffic, man, it wrecked everything. And my whole deal this morning, the whole rush was to get here before the cloud cover came. Man, we just got in right under the wire, didn't we? I can't tell you the number of other geysers and buffalo and beautiful meadows and rivers I passed by in such a hurry. I knew that traffic was going to mean there wasn't a moment to lose. And it's crazy. I can't believe we just saw that. We can check that one right off the bucket list. Now, I grant you, coming straight to Old Faithful in your first time here is the cheesiest, most touristy rookie move you can make. But just like how I was talking about, the first thing I did when I landed in France was want to go see the Eiffel Tower. My mentality is always the first time you come somewhere, get the big, cheesy, touristy thing out of the way, especially if you're just passing through like I am today. And that way, the next time you come back, you can investigate other lesser known, less traveled portions of the national park. Oh man, I didn't know you could just watch the geyser from the safety and comfort of the inside of the visitor center. I could have just waited until after it started raining. Oh well, next time. See, look at this. Now they have the prediction for the next eruption because of the last one we just saw. Even though it's kind of busy, I just wanted to pop in here and refresh my memory on how this all works with the geyser water heated by magma and shooting up through cracks in the earth. Apparently all that water coming out of the geyser we just saw exploding comes out of a hole the size of your fist. It constricts down to a little hole that size. That's what shoots it up so high in the air, like putting your thumb over a hose. I learned that here in the young scientist wing. Sometimes if you want the simplest, quickest explanation for how something works, go to the kids section at visitor centers or the library. Ooh, they got a nice gift shop in there, but you know what? Before it starts to really come down, might as well spend some time walking around outside. And I can tell you now, that sulfury smell is a lot stronger when you come out here by the runoff. That is some smelly water. Pretty surreal being out here seeing all this. And I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because, like I told you, I never thought I would see Yellowstone. I've just never been close enough to it. In fact, I'm only here today because the rainy weather coming in meant I can't film something else I was on my way to. And it was literally only yesterday in the afternoon that I went, you know what? I'm close enough to hit it. Maybe I'll go check out Yellowstone, you know, one of our most famous national parks, maybe the most famous. But yes, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because normally when I visit a place, I know a lot more about its history, the who's, what's, where's, why's, and when's. And because I kind of thought I'd never get here, my Yellowstone knowledge is poor. And that's being generous. Like, I never even knew there was a giant, magnificent hotel right next to Old Faithful. You can literally see it down there in the distance. It's the Old Faithful Inn. It was built in 1903 and 1904, and it looks unlike any other place I've ever been. Seriously, this place doesn't look real. It looks like something constructed for a movie, in CGI even. Dude, nothing Disney has ever built, none of their hotels can rival this. And they're all made out of modern materials. Look at this place. More than a century old and built of crazy timbers and stone. There are restaurants and snack shops and gift shops and balconies for days and days. Look at these. What the heck is that? The world's craziest indoor treehouse? And just look at this. Even the hallways look unreal here. Dude, this hurts my brain. I'm really regretting now that I didn't plan more time for this. Literally, even just the Old Faithful Inn alone. Last night when I was looking at, hotel possibilities for today, I noticed this one on my app for $500 a night. I thought, what do I look like, Elon Musk? $500? Even if I had it, it could never be worth it. Could it? Could it? Well, look at this, friends. I think it might. It might have been worth it. I mean, just imagine leaving your room right here and walking out and peering down into that beautiful lobby, or better yet, heading out onto the balcony and getting a view of Old Faithful right from the front porch. That is awesome. Look at this place, though, for real. It looks like something out of a fairy tale. And I never knew this before I came here. But this parking lot doesn't just serve Old Faithful and the Old Faithful Inn. There are a bunch of geysers out there, some of which I can see periodically erupting out there. Oh my gosh, look at those old classic Yellowstone buses out there. And Old Faithful in the background, and ow, what the heck is that?
Ooh, those are big old fat raindrops.
Well, just like that, the fair weather was over, friends. Now, I've wandered all over the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite and stayed at the Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood, the one they use the outside of in the movie The Shining. Both of those hotels are insanely beautiful, but neither holds a candle to this place. I've seen Old Faithful, so I took one thing off the bucket list today, but now I've added a new thing.
Stay in this place for a couple of nights.
Dude, I seriously want to know what this is all about. Oh, I see. It was designed by the architect based on his childhood fantasies of a crazy treehouse. It's called the Crow's Nest. And even if it wasn't closed, it's 76.5 feet up, more than 15 alleys high. Which means if I were allowed to climb up there, I would get vertigo and maybe die. The kid in me is like, that is the coolest fort ever. The man in me is like, oh my gosh, that's terrifying. Don't get me wrong, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm just afraid of plummeting from them. Look at that, there are rooms right up here on the mezzanine. You could walk right out and sit in a leather chair and just watch all these people go by. All of these people, by the way, is the reason the Crow's Nest is closed. Apparently, at the end of the 1950s, there was an earthquake here at Yellowstone strong enough to kind of mess with the timbers, making it, in the words of the inn, unsafe structurally for the number of visitors that the inn receives today. There was an earthquake, of course, because all of Yellowstone, for miles and miles and miles, it's all sitting on top of a still active volcanic area. The Yellowstone caldera is what I always hear it called. Now, caldera is an imploded volcano rather than an exploded one, which makes a crater, if I remember correctly. Someday it may explode again and wipe out all the life in North America, maybe worldwide. It might wipe out human civilization. Luckily, today's not that day. Anyway, this is awesome, and I really want to grab a seat and linger out here, but I've got hours and hours and miles to go before I can rest my weary head tonight. There are over 200 miles of road in Yellowstone National Park, and we've got to cover many of those, unless I go back the same way, but even that was all humbucked by construction. So I guess it's time to get out of here. And it's still raining outside, but it's raining slowly, if that makes any sense, so it's really not too bad out here. Oh my gosh, and wouldn't you believe it? The sun came back out. Whoa, and so did the crowd. This is a bigger crowd than when we were here earlier, which means we just might see a second eruption. Dude, that is incredible. Dude, that was unbelievable. Bonus Old Faithful. I can't believe we got to see it erupt twice in one day. And I can't believe once again just how fast the crowds disperse. I'm gonna take this little trail now around from the side of Old Faithful. There are, of course, endless miles of trails in this national park. But thanks to our traffic adventure this morning, I don't have time to explore endless miles of trails today. But since we're already in the neighborhood, I did think it was a good idea to explore the trail right over here to the nearby Geyser Hill. Oh man, I could literally feel the heat coming off of this one. Look at this incredibly deep pool of hot, bubbling, crazy water. Notice the way that it goes deep down under the earth there, and the way that we're way high up on this hill above those people down there and the river below. That is the exact reason right there that it's not safe to set even 1 foot off of this catwalk here, because you never know when that one wrong step will be your last step, and you don't want to end up like the kid on the sign in the parking lot. Whoa! Look at this. This is all a runoff from Old Faithful. It goes down here to this river. And as you can see across the river, there are many other areas of runoff as well. This is wild. Look at the minerals seeping out of the hill with the water. Look at the way the water is bubbling and churning down there where the hot water hits it. Not to mention bubbling and boiling just a few inches from our faces down here. Look at that. Dude, that is hot. Ugh, that is unbearable when you're right in the steam there. Yikes. Not just the heat, but the smell, too. Somebody's boiling up Easter eggs in there. And maybe some crawfish. Crawfish. I suddenly realized I'm pretty hungry. Haven't eaten anything all day. Look at this right here. That is gorgeous. Chinese spring. That one looks so perfect, like a perfect little crater bubbling up right there. It's like a perfect postcard. I can see now that even this basic trail over here by Old Faithful stretches for a long distance. I was gonna say, man, I should have brought some water with me, and then I remembered I've got all the water I need right here. Mineral water. Tastes like Hades. Ooh. That looks fun. Weird. We are literally walking through the cooled off, thankfully, runoff water of Old Faithful up there. Ooh. Gross. Oh man, look at that in the distance. Looks like we're missing another geyser eruption down there. Look at that. That is incredible. This one keeps shooting up and splashing down, shooting up and splashing back down. There's so much water shooting off of that thing that there are little geyser waterfalls all along the sides. That's incredible. Dude, you can get pretty close to this one. Uncomfortably close. This one is called Castle Geyser, and believe it or not, this is considered a minor eruption that it's having right now. Boy, I'd hate to see it have a full-on cranky temper tantrum. Can't believe how many beautiful, insane things we're seeing all within sight of the Old Faithful Inn. Whoa, and look at that geyser back there. Look at the size of that eruption. I don't know where to look. I don't know whether to look at Castle Geyser right behind me over here, or down there at that huge eruption, or at this bubbling pot in front of Castle Geyser called Tortoiseshell Spring, or the beautiful natural wonder here of Crested Pool. And dude, I can see across the river a couple of big old bison back there, some buffalo. Weird. Dude, that is so weird. Until today, I've never seen bison in the wild just roaming around before, which is crazy. Because as many of you know, they used to be all over North America in the tens of millions. Oh my gosh, dude. Whatever that geyser is over there, it is having some huge eruptions. It's been erupting over and over and over again, but I just know my luck. And I know as soon as I cross this bridge and get close enough, it's probably gonna stop. Well, that's okay. I've already seen more geyser action today than I ever expected to see in a lifetime. There's more geysers here than there are in an old folks home. Think about it. Oh my gosh. It is so hot, smelly, and beautiful out here. Look at these crazy thermal vents, and look at the way all these bubbling springs pour down into the river down there. The only other place I've ever been that was anything like this was a place called Bumpus Hell in Northern California in Lassen Volcanic National Park. It had some bubbling and boiling pots, but nothing as crazy as the geysers I've seen out here today, which have been going crazy. Look at this. But of course, true to my prediction earlier, the meanest and mightiest of them that were freaking out just a few minutes ago. Like Spasmodic Geyser over here, he looks pretty calm. Meanwhile, Castle Geyser over there has decided to have a major eruption right after we crossed the river. Oh well, ain't it always the way? To be honest with you though, I kind of like that better. I kind of like seeing it way over there in the distance. I mean, it really gives it scope for the imagination. I mean, would you look at the size of that plume out there? Look at those tiny little people at the base of it. They look like ants. And look at this. Wow, you can really hear that steam hissing out of the ground. Guess we really don't have time for me to show you everything that's out here on this trail. Just this trail would take all day to really film in detail. And I don't know if it would bore everybody else, but I'm telling you, I could spend a week out here in Yellowstone. And that's just based on the tiny fraction of it that I've seen. Dude, Old Faithful was awesome, but I gotta admit, Castle Geyser is the champ of the day. Even just the steam shooting out at the end from the eruption of Castle Geyser today is epic. Just sitting here watching it, I can literally feel the ground trembling. Wait a minute, that might just be people walking on the catwalk behind me. Never mind. I am impressed by this though. I mean, look at that. As the British would say, it's going mental. Dude, this is awesome. Just heading back towards the car. I've gotten a couple of epic glimpses of the buffalo over here, or the North American bison to be more scientifically correct. They are so gorgeous. I am so glad we got this little sunny reprieve. We got this brief break from the storm clouds that were supposed to overtake us earlier. I can see they're starting to come back again, but it was supposed to be raining out here all day. And instead we got this. What the heck, dude? I'm stoked. Look how close we are to this buffalo. If I had a zoom lens, we could see right up that guy's nose, and trust me, this is plenty close enough. You don't want to get any closer. There's one thing I know about the West is to avoid ornery buffalo. They can charge. This was beautiful. All we're missing now is a bear sighting. All right, guys, I can't keep going on and on forever. I thought we'd only get maybe 5 minutes of footage before it started to pour down rain on us. And unbelievably, somehow we got to witness so much majesty, so much natural splendor, and all from the safety and convenience of one single parking spot. The next time I come out here, I can promise you we will range farther afield. But for now, I think it's time to call it. As long as the van cooperates, I do have many, many miles to go northwards into Montana tonight. So I guess I'd better leave you guys here. The storms are coming, and it's time to be moving along. Don't worry, if I see any other epic nature-y things on my way out of Yellowstone, I'll show them to you after the credits. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this, please do me a favor. Click the like button, maybe share it with a friend who would enjoy these videos. There's other links below, as well as our Patreon, and our social media, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to find out how to become a member for exclusive content, or get some sick merch, or anything like that, or check out our second channel, go down to the links below, or super simple, just visit randomland.com. And that's it. You've done your duty. You can go home and sleep well. Oh my gosh, I just finished the trail and look, it's happening again. Here I was in a hurry this morning because I thought I'd miss my one opportunity to see Old Faithful. And now I've seen it 3 times. Dude, the waiting is intense for Old Faithful. All the predictions are plus or minus 10 minutes. They're usually pretty accurate, but that's a 20-minute gap, which means it could be 20 minutes late. And it gets so quiet while people are waiting and waiting for 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes sometimes for this thing to erupt. And then in those last couple of minutes before it goes, it gets so tense. I just wonder, has anybody ever started screaming, 10, 9, you know? I'd like to do that one day. Anybody got a megaphone? I don't know much about Yellowstone, but I do know that's a terrible idea. You could fall right through the crust of the earth into some hot water.